This is okay. This is for the Instagram cuts.
That's excellent. That's what I was hoping.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a hard start.
You hadn't even finished sitting down yet.
I just enjoy getting right to the punch,
I am 50% Greek.
So
I am
50%.
I think 25% Italian.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe it's smaller than that. And then there's a sliver of Scottish.
Right. That's where you get the name.
That's where my name comes from.
Mm-hmm.
I traced it back to the 1700s in Ancestry.com or whatever. My brother did this, and we're from Aberdeenshire, Scotland, which is the top, the north, basically the Gehenna of Scotland. The northeast corner of Scotland.
Yeah, that joke's really going to land outside Columbus.
That's what I'm thinking about. So, but they're going to be interested in Gehenna now. Realtor.com, #1 housing market in the country, 2 years running. First time that's ever happened.
They sponsor us.
Gehenna, Ohio.
They do not sponsor us.
Yeah.
Would you say that your Scottish ancestor is probably proud of himself for coming out on top name-wise, despite having...
he's dead, so...
do you think he's, with us now?
I hope he's in heaven. I mean, there's a lot of cool names, a lot of James.
Mm-hmm.
That's just cool.
That's my brother's name. It's okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, James.
My roommate, my freshman year in college, the one who helped kickstart my faith, who really pushed me, he grew up Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrestled with him all 4 years in high school. Great guy. We had an apartment my freshman year.
Nice.
And he was the one that pushed me. It was like, all right, everything I've seen online says the Catholic Church is a cult.
Mm-hmm.
And he pushed me in all these ways of why do you believe this? Why do you believe this? Why do you believe this one night? And I was like, I don't know. And it rattled me. I was like, how do I believe in something and know nothing about it? So then I stayed up all night answering the questions, and then that got me pointed to SPO, which
the rest is history. Yep. And now you're in the cult.
Yep. So thanks, James.
Yeah,
good James.
What a man! What a man!
James Whitehead.
Do you remember the joke that you once told me when I asked you if you remembered a particular Bible reference back before I was Catholic? You said, "John, I'm Catholic." Mm-hmm. I don't have to read that. It was pretty good. And that's what we're here to change.
That's great.
That's where we're starting.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
There's a prayer, I forget who prays it. It's like, Lord, use even my bullcrap as manure for your good work.
Wow.
That's a good, honest prayer. So
yeah, I produce a lot. Lord, may it be.
May it be helpful.
May I fertilize something. Wait. Sorry. That actually was unintentional.
Gosh.
Strike that. We'll cut that later.
So here we are up in your attic
after
many, many long weeks of months and years of dreaming.
Yeah.
And you constructing.
Yeah.
This has turned out quite well.
Thank you.
Say. The lighting is fantastic. The books, the John the Baptist.
Vibes are in.
The Ralph Martin.
Vibes are
all
locked.
of it. It just is right on point.
When I came to the church, I actually was able to pick 2 confirmation saints.
How come you got 2?
Because I was 31 and I got asked, and I said, if I use the same name, can I get 2? And Father Albert said, yeah, okay.
I don't care, kid.
Just stop asking me questions.
Just leave me alone.
Actually, the funny thing is he and I were almost the exact same age.
Huh.
Yeah. He was, I chose to come into the church at St. Pat's because I wanted to make sure that anyone I talked to who was leading my RCIA class was smarter than me.
Oh, the Dominicans, you'll get
Dominicans,
that.
You need that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So anyway, he let me pick both St. John the Baptist and St. John the Apostle.
Oh, that's cool.
And I've been told recently, John, it would probably be good if, now that you have the St. John the Baptist vibe locked in, you should probably start adding more St. John the Beloved.
Good.
And I was like,
fine.
That's going to be a harsh judgment against you in the day of fire. No, I didn't say that.
But your heart did.
But my heart murmured it softly to me. I was like, where's my camel hair? I need to go home and eat some locusts and think about this.
Have you ever had a locust?
No.
It seems like something you should do. Once, just to say you did it.
I've had the opportunity to eat the Mexican candy with a cricket in the middle of it.
How'd it go?
I pass on that every time. I have
Really?
not eaten it.
Oh, you had the
I
opportunity
had
and
the
said
I've
no.
had
You
many
never did it.
opportunities. Yeah.
Man.
My church, my Baptist church back in Lancaster, California, growing up, used to take all of the youth on trips down to Mexico,
Mhm.
Tijuana,
Mhm.
or as the gringos say, Tijuana,
Yes,
for some reason,
of course.
And we would spend like a weekend building a house, and by house I mean a shed
Mhm.
that people in Tijuana would then figure out a way to get the minimum of electricity to. You know how they did it, or they would do it. So sometimes they would wind up taking electrical wire and throwing it over the top of power transfers. Yeah, and so then
That's one way to do it?
get two of those connected, and you're good to go, man.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
I something
crazy.
tells me that wasn't the majority of how they did it. That was probably like worst case scenario,
Yeah.
but
Wow.
definitely not. Zoning board is not really in effect down
See,
there
I also grew up out there, as you know, and we used to go
in
to,
Tijuana.
yeah, not too far
Yeah.
away from that. We used to drive down with our parish to Tecate,
Mm-hmm.
which is like similar distance from the border, basically right on it, but
Mm-hmm.
just to a different angle. And we went to go to this orphanage, and we would go there once a year. And so I'd always see like the same kids every year, and it was always cool. I mean, it's amazing how quickly things can look so different. I was on a flight to Costa Rica. I had no idea how close Costa Rica was. Like we left out of Atlanta, and it was like a 2.5 hour flight, which just felt like a normal flight in the country. And you get out, and it is like third world, very different experience, which
Extremely
I
fast.
did no research before this
That's
trip
wise. Yeah.
because my friends I knew were researching it. And so I was just gonna land and see how it goes. And I was like, whoa,
High trust.
yeah, this was not what I was expecting, but it was an amazing trip. Beautiful jungles. It just basically looked like Jurassic Park most of the time, which was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Amazing waterfalls. The water was like deep blue.
No.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Get out. That's
Gorgeous.
amazing.
Very cool.
Wow.
The world is an amazing place. I
You heard it here
cannot
first here, folks.
I can't believe the times in which we live where we can just casually travel to see such a variety of geography.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. Like
Mm-hmm.
we grow up where within an hour you can be at the ocean or up in the mountains. And then we're out here in Ohio where it's a little less
It's got a charm.
a
It's a
lot of
homey charm,
cornfields,
he said defensively.
and then you travel on a plane and you can go to the swamps of the south, or get on a plane and you're in the jungle in Costa Rica, or get
Mm-hmm.
on a plane in a couple hours and you're in like the deserts or the Alps of Europe. It's just amazing how easy
Yeah.
and accessible everything is. It's
Pros
wild.
and cons.
Yeah, for
Pros and
sure.
cons. But that's a future podcast episode. The pros is it's never been easier to get a man outside his comfort zone.
Mhm.
The con is that sometimes it's like the sheer availability of options actually paralyzes a man's decision making.
Or dulls the awe.
Yes.
Because it's
Yes.
so easy to get. Like people would travel for days and weeks, and it was hard, and you'd
Yeah.
have to like put up with like weather while you're in your wagon if you have one, or you're
Mm-hmm.
just on a horse. And then when you go and you see the Grand Canyon, having never seen pictures or videos or whatever about it, you get there and you're just struck by it because you've never even comprehended
No.
something could look as grand as that, or the land could change as drastically as that. And now by the time we're in second grade, we've seen
Pictures.
all of the like wonders of the earth.
Yeah. It's almost
It's
like the
amazing.
joy of it's like you're inoculated against wonder.
Yeah, or like all the movies. It is because like all the movies are just drawn to be so dramatic and so dopamine hitting that you've seen more like
Yeah.
action and thrill.
Than any man would have in like 40 years
Correct.
of life.
Like any
100
all
years ago.
like it's crazy. So then when you're in life, what it used to be for thousands of years, amazing, awe-inspiring, is just muted
Now it's
because we have
muted.
just been scrolling and seeing this
Yeah.
now AI slop that is
Yeah. Yeah.
crazy.
The brain dopamine receptors have been fried
Mhm.
by overindulging in easy hits of wonder.
But what I think is happening is that there is a realization. I mean, it's been 20 years this next year since the iPhone came out.
Wow.
Here's my thought. Here's my conviction. You ready for it?
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of thinking about human existence timeline.
Mhm.
Okay. How this started, I was on a flight coming back from Kansas City. And it was a overcast day in Kansas City. And I get on this plane and we pop through the clouds, poof. And it's golden hour. And so it's like the clouds are purple and blue and orange and red and yellow. And it's just like bouncing. The light is bouncing over these clouds that we're flying through. And I was like, this is nuts. People for thousands of years dreamed about someday seeing or imagining what must it look like above these clouds. And here we are casually flying through the sky like a Greek myth. And it's not even worth talking about.
Everyone's
it's
on the
like
phone.
most people in the plane had their windows shut. And I'm like, what are we doing?
Don't bother me with that.
So the guy next to me is, while he's flying through the sky, a little hot. So he's adjusting his air conditioning.
Like,
so
you mean attractive, or you mean he's over?
He is overheated.
Is he also? No, don't.
He is adjusting the air conditioning, so he's a little more comfortable while he flies through the sky. And the gal next to him is being handed pretzels from Hawaii while she flies through the sky. Okay, and she passes it down. Would you like pretzels? I said, I would love some pretzels.
Hawaii is known for its pretzels.
They're one, apparently. And then the guy next to me takes out this piece of glass from his pocket and touches it in a couple places and begins to watch a basketball game that is happening real time on another area of the country while we fly through the sky eating Hawaiian pretzels. And none of that
That's a sweet glass.
is worth talking about.
No.
It's so casual that all of this stuff happens. So I get home, I put the kids to bed, I get on Grok, and I say, Grok, what is the average daily life experience of somebody that grew up 2000 BC, 1000 BC, 500 years, 0, 500, 1000, like just to get a 4,000 year spectrum of the daily life experience of a person. And I got to tell you, it doesn't change a whole lot.
Not a ton.
In most of that time.
Not a ton.
Like
you're
small,
growing stuff, you're
rural,
stuff.
agricultural, very religious, intercommunal
might have a horse.
Communities. The biggest technological advancement for most of that timeline was wood tools to metal tools. That was huge. You get to the 1500s, things start to go, and then 2000s, like, forget about it. I was on that plane when we took off. It said 100 years in flight. And I'm like, on the 4,000 year timeline of human existence, 100 years on this end of the spectrum is like where we have flight and indoor plumbing and heating and screens and like everything that we could possibly want to know in our pocket at all times. What, like, everything that we basically experience in daily life has happened in this little blip. We are living in such a unique time in history. And so how I got started with this was 20 years since the iPhone and how that has drastically changed our interaction with the world. I think 20 years is long enough where now the novelty of it is going away. This like seismic shift in like a daily life experience has shifted away. And now we're really faced with the ramifications and the fruits, the good and the bad.
We have to live in this world now.
And so now I think there's this greater societal realization of, all right, the novelty, the honeymoon phase of this new thing is coming to an end. And now we're faced with the new reality. So what's worth recapturing?
Yeah.
What's worth re-exercising? I think in the next 5 to 10 years, there's going to be a big push to move away from the screen.
You think so? You think that's going to stick? Do you think we'll actually have the will?
Well, this is what's so fascinating is it's the will factor. It's so easy to get the dopamine and the connection.
I wake up and I reach for it right away.
But I think the AI slop is a great vision for what it is. Like, people are moving off of social media because they're tired of seeing fake stuff.
Yeah.
You can't get on your Twitter feed, your X feed, or Instagram or YouTube or whatever without seeing, like, especially in the last several months, a ton of just fake AI generated stuff. And it's just like sucks the joy out of it, or the connectivity out of it, or the curiosity and the wow out of it. There's so much fake and shallow that I think in general, people are like, all right, I'm spending, according to the latest studies, 30 plus years of my adult life now looking directly at a screen. Is that what I want? Or is there something more to this life other than just pure satiation? I was also thinking about how we don't have boredom anymore.
No, I haven't been bored in like a decade.
Like when the Wi-Fi when the Wi-Fi was down,
dial up.
Before Wi-Fi, when the
dial up.
like there was no working from home.
No.
Like if you got snowed in as a kid,
That's a good day.
there's no internet connection. There was a
You
TV.
still have TV, but it's not as interesting as the snow.
No, because usually your parents were watching it, and so you're like, all right, I'm
Mm.
either going to watch this show that my dad's watching, and not even budge about it, just be grateful I'm watching whatever it is that
And
he's
not at
watching,
school.
or we're gonna go outside,
Mhm.
or I'm just gonna sit in my room with a book, like
Yeah.
that boredom
Yeah.
doesn't happen anymore. It's like either I am in the go of the day, or I'm just scrolling, satiating,
You
distraction.
know that? Who was it? Some Catholic smart guy that said that leisure is the basis of culture.
Yeah.
Who
Yep.
was that? Do you
Uh-huh.
think
I
leisure
heard that very recently.
includes boredom? Or do you think leisure is more like structured ease?
I
Like,
think
what's your definition of leisure?
well, before we get there, the boredom piece, we're talking about this timeline.
Mhm.
Like most of the saints' lives, I think, was pretty boring.
Yeah.
As funny as that sounds.
Externally boring.
Like, yeah,
I think internally
precisely.
boring as well.
Well, I mean, when they're traveling, you talk about St. Paul.
It's walking. It's just
they're
walking.
just walking.
Yeah.
You can get online and you can see the map of where they went.
Not big.
And they're not driving. They're not flying. They are walking or
Mhm.
riding a horse
Or on a boat.
for a long time, just
That's it.
thinking.
And talking with whoever was next to them.
Yeah.
Which is why the genius of Jesus's ministry model was that most of it was hanging out, walking, and camping out with 12 dudes.
Mhm.
And that was like when God came down to earth and did ministry, it was a small group of 12 dudes that he wasted 3 years on. And then 2 of them betrayed him at the end. And only one of those 2 came back. But the one that came back got to be Pope. So not a bad,
That works.
pretty 11 out of 12, not bad, right?
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is, he didn't scale it. He never sought to scale. Like he was never about multiplication models. He was never crunching the numbers. He was never like when the crowd got too big, he drove them away by telling a bunch of Jewish people that they'd what sounded like they'd have to do cannibalism, basically. John 6 discourse. If you do not eat my flesh, drink my blood. There's I think it's in that passage. The Greek word used for eat is gnaw.
Like literally
really
very
nasty words, visceral, gritty, chewy words he used. He was earthy. Everything he said was in a parable to the crowds. And when the crowd got too big, he drove them away. And then he would run from them into the wilderness. They would pursue him. And when he realized that they were about to make him king, which is exactly what the disciples wanted, he ran away again. So he was, in a strange way, like anti-growth for most of that time. He said, I'm just going to go full depth with like a handful of guys. And then it's not even the full 12 that get his undivided attention. It's the 3 within the 12. And then within that, he had one best friend. And so if you look at his life, it's this like concentric series of expanding rings. The 1, the 3, the 12, the 70 that he sends out, and the crowds outside that. And so it's this, there's scale. It's not like he hid himself entirely effectively from people. Like the whole point was to minister and to witness and to set people free from demonic activity, from illness, raising the dead. Like he did the signs that were prophesied in the Old Testament, but he intentionally built into, like he could have come to earth in 2000 AD. Well, it would have been 0. You know what I mean? He could have come to earth now when the plane was invented and when the iPhone was invented. He could have like gotten infinite worldwide reach to billions of people digitally. It chose instead to come to the middle of nowhere, Judea, in a Roman province, in one of the poorest corners of the Roman Empire, and waste time. Like 90% of his time is not captured in the Gospels because it was walking, sleeping, and eating. And that was the rich portion of culture building that I'm convinced, as much as the teaching, I think it was the time wasted on his fellow workers in the vineyard that was the basis of the culture. He had leisure built into the culture he created with the disciples. So that because what we make in this post-enlightenment era, we make this mistake of thinking that's pure information that's going to save us. And we're Westerners, so we think information alone, teaching alone is going to save us. But it's the slow chewing, the slow gnawing, if you will. So eat my flesh, drink my blood. The Protestants say that that's only figurative. Catholics, we know it's literal, but I think sometimes we forget it's also figurative. That
Both and.
it's a both and.
Yeah.
And so that, I mean, my story. I mean, Jonathan Pageau was a huge influence in helping me see that symbolic, like the Greek word symbol means to throw together. It's two things, like two different levels of reality colliding. And so to gnaw means both to dwell on internally in a leisurely fashion that you invite other people into, and also to consume literally.
Yeah.
Because the truth about the logos is that all levels of reality must combine in the same moment of contact, which is why all of reality is ultimately sacramental and ultimately Eucharistic.
Yeah.
And I know I just jumped like,
No, I like that a lot. Yeah.
That's me. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Like I'm here for that's why I'm
Yeah.
sitting in this room, is because I realized that fact. Thank God that I fell into listening to Jordan Peterson in 2017, 2016. And then from there, Pageau in 2019, that rebooted everything about me. And then from there, it was just like, I come to Columbus, of all places, in the Midwest, in the cultural middle of nowhere. And then I wind up buying a house in Reynoldsburg, this little suburb in the middle of nowhere. And then my neighbor winds up being a guy involved in Cornerstone.
Yep.
And just a horse of a man. You know, John Michael Pose, everybody. Mike, but you heard it here first. Horse of
Just a horse.
Just a hoss. Like that dude was different. You know, this gritty Marine who is also Catholic, into his faith, knew the Bible, and had a living, active relationship with Jesus and God the Father in the power of the Holy Spirit. And he could talk about it confidently without being weird. And then he invited me to meet a bunch of other dudes that were having a good time and were also gritty and high capacity and very Catholic and not weird. And I was like, where am I?
Yeah.
And that was 2021.
Yeah.
And I came in from the wilderness very much John the Baptist, like edgy, raw, angry, and was met with dudes that could walk with me faster than they were interested in, or more than they were interested in giving me information. They were interested in walking alongside me in life. And God did the rest. They walked with me closely, including you, by the way. Came over to my terrible house that I was in the middle of a long-term renovation on that never seemed to end. And it didn't. 4-year renovation.
Still going.
It's done now. It's
done,
occupied. But it cost everything I had.
What did it cost?
I don't want to say. I don't want to say. Yeah, not on air. I'll tell you afterwards. But it was all of the emotional. So I'll back up a step. I had some exposure to the Protestant charismatic movement. Very emotional, very much about identity. A lot of good stuff there. Some stuff I had to leave behind. Not
good relationship stuff too.
Relational, communal, tight, like emotionally self-aware because God the Father loved you. And that, when that clicks, like you're never the same. You can't go back. You've seen too much. But the theology of suffering wasn't there. The sacramental theology wasn't there. I once had a pastor, Protestant, fittingly enough, who said, John, Protestants tend to be really good at the first half of life. Catholics tend to be really good at the second half of life.
I've never heard that put that way before, but I could see what he means. Catholics
have a much more intact theology of suffering. Protestants have a much more impactful praxeology of zealous transmission. And so when I came to Columbus, I found guys that had both. And they were clearly on a mission, and they knew it. But the mission was essentially waste time on sweet dudes until God heals them. And it's not like you don't talk about things that matter within that context, right? But the ministry model that we practice is relational evangelization. And so without really knowing it, I was being relationally evangelized in 2021 to 2023 until I came into the church. I could not have done it without the group of men that I knew. And that is the preamble to why this podcast.
Yeah, it's the whole model, like talking about what Jesus was doing and what's working today in the face of everything else that the world is throwing. Like there was a sophomore on campus that came up to me one time. He's like, Mitch, if my life is just about my next Amazon purchase, and getting a job to get more Amazon purchases. And then at some point having enough money to go to Florida and golf until I die. Like, what is this?
Mhm.
There has to be more than that. And luckily,
Was that you in the mirror?
no, that was not me in the mirror. No, but luckily there is so much more. And we've like discovered that what a joy it is to be a part of this movement that we're just swept up in the church and in the world right now.
Yeah.
Like he on this timeline, he could have had us at any point on that timeline. And sometimes it's very tempting to want to think like, boy, that 700 sounds pretty nice right now. You
I
know,
would
quiet,
really like.
noiseless.
Oh, that's what you want. Oh yeah.
With people.
With,
okay.
no,
my
no, no.
extroverted self.
I'm thinking like Warlord would be a lot of fun.
That is the difference between you and I.
Don't worry, I'd visit your village.
Gosh.
You wouldn't like it. Yeah.
I just be like, okay.
Okay.
Um,
You're 40. You're tired now. You thank me.
he could have had us on any point in the timeline, and
Yeah.
yet he had us for this moment that is so unique.
Yeah.
Where we are faced with
Probably the most interesting time to be alive that you could
I
possibly
really do
imagine.
think so.
I think so.
It's objectively unlike any other time in history.
Yeah.
And he wants us to be on the front lines of the church, the eternal church, right here,
Church militant,
right
baby.
now. It's so in our like prime
of life.
I think we'll always be in our. I have a hope
How old
that
are
I'm
you,
always
Mitch?
in my
How old are
prime.
you?
I am 31.
And I'm 33.
See,
it feels
pretty
pretty good
to be at this
pretty
stage
good right now
in the church, like right now. But I also
Yeah.
know guys that are in their 50s and 60s, and I would say they are in their prime of life, just doing stuff for the church. What a unique time to live. What a great mission. And right at this moment where it seems people are rediscovering what really matters on a large scale, partly due to the social media presence of a Jordan Peterson, like getting these messages, but in the midst of the oversaturation of the shallow,
the AIification. Yeah.
So what's fascinating? So I was thinking about this the other day. I did this 4,000 year study on daily life experience. What was happening I just arbitrarily took 2000 BC, but you know, it was born around 2000 BC.
Hammurabi?
Abraham.
Oh.
Close. We're right there.
Yeah.
Abraham, which is what kind of kicked off a lot of...
There's just some things relevant for us in that story.
Yes. Now we're on the other side of that mirror image of Abraham, and we're approaching the 2000th anniversary of Christ's passion.
Yeah.
And depending on who you ask, anywhere between 3 and 7 years from now.
Yeah.
And right at the midst of how things are looking so interesting, and there's this awakening movement. I don't know what it means, but it is objectively fascinating.
Yeah. Something be happening.
Something be happening.
It really
and
could be.
what a great moment, and how amazing it is that we have been welcomed into this, given it completely, like we don't deserve any of this.
Given the keys to a Ferrari.
We know
Ferris Bueller.
So many amazing men and women, and have been a part of so many amazing things in the middle of nowhere in Ohio.
What's going on in Ohio?
Why
here?
I was every couple of years. My wife and I
didn't grow up here either.
I know. I'm
another Californian refugee like me.
Every couple of years, I and my wife get into a big World War II kick, and we watch Band of Brothers. And there was this one day a couple months ago.
Laura watches that with you?
She loves Band of Brothers.
That's a good woman
thinks
right
it's
there.
Awesome.
Wow.
And it's so much fun to watch that show with her.
Wow.
I was watching a video on the Battle of Midway.
Yeah.
And I had always heard about the Battle of Midway. The aircraft carrier museum in San Diego is the Midway. So it's always like familiar in my brain, but I'd never like seen a deep dive on the battle. So it's this little speck of sand. It's a sandbar in the middle of the ocean, halfway, midway between California. There it is.
You think that's why they named it that? Keep going.
Oh, man. So halfway between Japan and California. And so basically this sandbar that's not sexy, that's not a vacation destination. It is literally like a sandbar the size of the Columbus airport. It's tiny.
Atoll.
Yes. But because of what was happening at the time, it became incredibly valuable.
Strategically important.
If you set up shop there, you are on the front door of your enemy, and you have all this space to protect your homeland.
Yep.
So this little very easily overseeable speck became the turning point in a massive world war. So I was watching that, And it was like one of those moments where the Lord taps you on the shoulder and says, look.
Like Mitch.
And then I was driving through the
Midway.
gray cloud cornfields of Columbus, Ohio, and went, whoa, I think Ohio might be one of these spiritual, cultural battles of Midway going right now, where you've got this state, you drive in, the sign above the freeway says the heart of it all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Ohio
True.
Politically in the past has been so goes Ohio,
True.
so goes the nation. It looks like and is located like the heart of the country.
It really does look like a heart.
I know a lot of economic people, like one of the guys involved in the Fisher College of Business at Ohio State, which is for all intent, what I think would describe as the largest university in the country. And now you have ASU and UCF, but there are a lot of commuter campuses. Ohio State is all like,
it's like what, 100,000 students?
It's 70K.
That was close.
Within 2.5 square miles. So there's a ton of people, and they're just living here, and it's in the center of this heart city that has been forever known as a blue-collar workforce backbone.
It's got the grit.
It's got the
Ohio
grit.
We kind of like things a little grungy and dingy.
It's a business test market because there's so many demographics that are involved in Central Ohio. So many companies start here because if you do well here, you can do well anywhere.
I mean, it's the meeting point of at least 3 distinct American cultures.
Massive. So I'm looking at all of this, and it's exploding. There are so many people moving here. It's supposed to double in the next 10 years of population.
Traffic is going to be bad.
Yeah, they're talking about building an outer belt.
Yeah,
which is nuts.
Calling it 270 plus.
Yes,
271.
It's a subscription model. 270 plus.
Sorry, you got to get off. You've run out of exits.
So I'm looking at what's happening, and you've got this worldly categories of politics and people and an economic explosion. And at the same time, over the last several years, you've got this wave of grace. You've got the largest Catholic men's and women's conferences that happen in the country here.
Wow, really?
You've got Damascus that has come up just in the last 5-10 years.
Yeah.
You've got SPO that's been happening. You've got the unity that's happening within the college environments. You have these youth groups like the Vine that are just some of the best in the country. You've got a bishop and priests that are just throwing stuff at a wall to see what sticks because they're just caught up in this wave of grace.
Big swings at a big renovation on the Newman Center.
And so what that means, and the amount of students that are showing up to a weekly
that thing is packed
event, like the arena on campus,
the arena is always full.
The Wellspring and the Arc that are happening, like it's just amazing to watch in such a time. This heartbeat of the church that's happening here and sending folks like a heart all out throughout the country. And it's not just happening here, but in a unique way, it is happening
in
here.
a particular way.
In a particular, intentional, Christianese way. It is happening here. And man, what a great time to be involved in all of this and swept up in all this. I don't know what he has in the years to come. One of my other convictions is Pope Leo XIII, his vision. That man was saying mass in the late 1800s, and he collapses because he has this vision. And in this vision, he writes down, he said, Satan and God talking. And Satan says, if you gave me 100 years, I could destroy your church. And God goes, you have the 1900s, the upcoming 100 years. And so he wakes up from that and writes the St. Michael prayer.
Yeah.
And then what did we see in the 1900s? We saw 2 world wars. We saw tons of problems, the sexual revolution.
Destruction of American cities.
I mean,
through offshoring,
the technological explosion,
confusion around Vatican II, an Apache implementation, and a loss of a lot of old Catholic culture.
An unbelievable shift in the daily life experience, and the fracture of belief systems,
retribalization, breakdown of meta narratives.
At the same time, Saint Elena Guerra, this nun in Italy, is writing the Pope because she too has been having these visions, and she says you need to dedicate the 1900s to the Holy Spirit.
Come on.
And so she's writing these letters, and I guess Pope Leo XIII knows that when an obscure Italian nun writes you with convicting messages and visions that you should listen. And so he does. And on January 1st of 1901, he dedicates the century to the Holy Spirit, which at that time, the Holy Spirit was almost never talked about. It was the Father and Jesus. And so he does this. And on January 1, of 1901, this explosion of this Pentecostal movement happens in Kansas City and in North Africa and in all over
North Africa?
yeah,
I
like
didn't know
all
that.
over these areas of the world.
No way.
Yeah, on the same day, they experienced this outpouring of the Holy Spirit that would eventually like sweep the country
Yeah.
and come into the Catholic Church
In the 60s.
in the 70s and
Oh, 70.
60s,
Oh, yeah.
60s
Yeah,
and
yeah.
70s. And man, now that century, the 1900s is over, and maybe the first couple decades of the 2000s was
Mhm.
like recovery,
Yeah,
regroup,
recovery.
re-strategize.
Yeah, I wish.
Now in 2025, a quarter of the way into this new century, full of the Holy
That's
Spirit,
wild to think of.
we're seeing these fruits and this
Yeah.
joy and this rekindling of all of the goodness of the church. Now there's still issues, but man, it
course.
seems like God is doing something amazing in
Yeah.
the next like many years.
Yes. Yes. There's going to be winnowing. There's going to be purgation. There's going to be continued pain as the church needs to be purified of some stuff. Thankfully, we're not in charge of driving that. That's
Mhm.
gonna be the Spirit
Mhm.
saying that's enough.
Yeah.
And then, but at the same time, in the goodness of God, you can already see the Holy Spirit planting the new like wheat kernels in the ground
Yeah.
to grow up. You can see the first sprouts, even as some of the old stalks are beginning to wither.
Mhm.
Like so, it's simultaneously. I'm trying not to say it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, but I guess there's worse things in a Dickens reference. So at the same time, you see crisis, collapse, chaos, depending on who you listen to.
Yeah.
And you see a return, revival, and
Yeah.
resurgence,
Yeah.
depending where you look.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of evidence for both.
Yeah.
And so my hope, Mitch, is that in our generation, we can figure out. So the charismatic renewal hits us in the 60s, and we wind up using a lot of Protestant sounding language to describe it. This gift, because of that and some other reasons, has wound up being sometimes siloed instead of being given injected fully into the bloodstream, the heart blood of the church, the lifeblood of the church. And so what does it look like to you talk to a trad, you talk to a TLM bro. It's like, hey, do you like charismatics? No. You talk to a charismatic. Do you like TLM bros? Nah, no. What if in our generation, the people that have the most zeal could figure out how to give each other the gifts that they so desperately need from each other?
Yeah.
Can you imagine
Yeah.
the impact if out of those two disparate things, God weaves unity?
I mean, that's the dream. And we've experienced it like
In bits and pieces, we have a little like tradismatic kind of like
Yeah.
synthesis, but like
There's
it's
something
a baby that's
amazing.
not yet been born, but you can feel like some of the labor pains
Yeah.
as we,
There's
God
something
willing, get
amazing
there.
going on. Like I whenever I go to a Latin mass, I'm like, man, I'm
I
just
know.
so deeply moved at
Yeah.
the
Heaven
beauty.
meets earth. They get it.
And when I go to a prayer meeting
Yeah.
and there's just like powerful praise and worship
Yeah. And
and
people get healed of stuff and hearts are revealed
yeah, and like
and the Spirit
amazing like
moves.
senses and words that people share and how it speaks to the hearts of so many, like that is also really moving. And it seems to
Yeah.
there was a priest that I knew one time that described the church as bone and flesh.
Yes.
And I really like that image where you've
Yes.
got different seasons of the church where maybe sometimes we've been like the bone structure is
Rock
tradition, the
solid.
magisterium,
Yeah.
the liturgy that has
skeleton.
just withstood and
Yep.
given structure and
Yep.
form
Not going
to the
anywhere.
church. And sometimes we have just been bone, like
Yeah.
dusty,
Hard to
dry
move,
bone.
hard to articulate at that
Mhm.
point.
And there have been seasons in the church where we've just been all heartbeat and flesh without form and just kind of feels and
Which is not new.
whatever.
Just ask the Montanists.
So we have this pendulum swing.
Yeah.
But man, whenever bone and flesh come around and we're united in
man.
this love and this admiration and
Let's
this
go.
awe of one another, like I love when somebody who's more intellectual than me, who's knows so much about maybe the liturgy and the tradition
Lives
and
of
the
the
symbolism
saints.
that happens in a Latin mass or so much more than that. I'm like in awe and drawn into
Yeah.
that. And when you have somebody who comes out of that sort of a background or preference or that sort of spirituality, but in love and awe, asks and wants to know more deeply about maybe the charismatic side, like that element of the church.
The flesh.
Yeah, the bones and the flesh, how the bone, like, wouldn't it be amazing as different parts of the body if we were drawn not in like divisive stances of this is the way,
Yeah.
because it's great for me because my spirituality is this. Like we're all so unique. We're all different, unrepeatable, amazing images of
Yeah.
the Father. And so we're all going to express that love and that relationship with the Father in a different way. So we have so many different spiritualities. But instead of saying like my way is the way, wouldn't it be amazing if we had that confidence in my way being
Christ.
amazing, but also in awe and love and support of these other spiritualities,
Yeah.
where we weren't tearing each other down before we even get to the rest of the world to evangelize,
Yeah.
but in unity and support and in a deep conversation and seeking understanding, we were able to promote one another so that I dare say we may be one,
Yeah.
just as the Father
Yeah.
is one with the Son, like Jesus prayed. Like that's the crazy
Sounds
thing. When you
oddly
were talking
familiar.
about strategy and the way that the Lord did things, he hands Judas the morsel. Judas walks out the door. And so this culminating moment of salvation history for thousands of years leading up to this moment, it's on. Judas is about to go and do what he's going to do.
Yeah.
And Jesus turns around and he doesn't say, all right, here's the speaking curriculum, the platforms,
here's the
here's
content,
the architecture
here's
of
the
the church. I want
distribution
you to, like,
methods.
he doesn't say any of that. What he asks, he says, I give you a new commandment, which is a massive deal. If you are in the room and
there's 10.
Jesus, after doing what he did in the Last Supper, obviously you're already shook. You've been with him for years. And now he says, I give you a new commandment. That is massive. And what does he say? Love one another. That to me is crazy. Like that strategy doesn't make sense on a worldly level. Like
No, but it
it
was the
doesn't.
culmination of his ministry model because he'd been doing it for the past 3 years. Like that was what he wasted his time doing.
Yes, correct. And he didn't say put up with each other. That wasn't the commandment. He didn't say like
tolerate each other.
Don't tolerate, or he just said be acquaintances with each other. Because in the West, especially, it seems like, hey, as long as you've got a relationship with the Lord, any other friends you have in addition to that is just a cherry on top. Very cool, but not really needed. His last commandment, like right before he dies, and then praying in the garden, he is crying, sweating blood, and saying, God, I just wish they were one.
Yeah.
As you and I are one.
I
like
wish
that's
they were
crazy.
With me. Like why are you not with me? Why are you sleeping? I wish you were with me now.
Yes.
That God in his moment of agony wanted the companionship of humans.
Correct.
In prayer with him.
Correct. And
that's crazy.
And he says, just as you and I are one.
That's
not like
crazy.
kind of like you and I are one.
But as.
Or like in a symbolic way, or like it
just
mirrors
a figurative.
it. Yes. It's like, I wish they were one, just as you are in me and I are in you, and that they are in us.
Yeah.
This Trinitarian love that we come in contact with when we meet and encounter God.
We get swept into
we
the
get
dance.
Swept up in that. And then he wants that for us and him as well as one another. So I just get so like, I don't know. I laugh at our weakness and get frustrated in our weakness when we're just tripping each other up about these in comparison.
Wasted energy.
Like not
that
unimportant.
It matters.
It does.
It matters.
But like, this the one thing that we're going after? Is like these trivial
If
differences.
You don't know that unity must be at the end of that process of fighting and wrestling to figure it out, then if fracture is an option in the back of your mind, if that's a ripcord that you have to pull in the back of your mind, you've already lost.
Yeah.
Because you've already given up the commitment to unity.
Like the Lord led in zealous love. Like he said some crazy stuff. Like he said some like very, very sharp, like this is the way that it is. But he always led in a desire and a frustration that was born out of love of everyone he ever encountered. Like even the Pharisees that were driving him crazy. You can just tell his heart is like, I just wish you guys got it.
Yeah. But he never stopped talking to them. He never stopped offering them off ramps out of their pride.
Yeah.
He never stopped giving them the truth. And he was harsh in order to rend the heart.
Yeah.
Not to cast into hell.
Yeah.
He gave warning that like, I am coming back as judge.
Yeah.
And then the time is up. But in this moment of my revelation, I have come to you as servant.
Man.
Unbelievable. Which is why the world has never been the same. Which is why once you discover, it's sort of like once monotheism is discovered, paganism and polytheism have a ticking clock. Like it's just kind of over. On the surface, paganism seems much more strong and vital. It literally worships strength and vitality. And yet, the dying and rising carpenter from Nazareth defeated Zeus,
So this is one of those
Thor,
benefits
Odin.
of the age that we live in
We
is
see it if we look, but we've forgotten.
and how quickly movements happen. Like
Yeah.
it used to just be very slow because word
You could
traveled
speak of
extremely
ages like
slow.
100 years.
Yeah.
100 years was an age.
Yeah, because and in cultural movements just happened from conversation to conversation, just traveled very
There was
slowly.
leisure, if you will.
Yeah, and now everybody like it's if something if a riot happens somewhere, everybody knows about it within 5 minutes. So
Yes.
these movements and these ideas and these
Yeah,
experiences
these memes.
travel memes
Yep.
travel very, very quickly.
Yep.
So when people are going through this experience of paganism or whatever they go down, they're sharing their experience like, hey, this was the thrill of what I got swept into. And then like 2-3 years into this, realize it's not what I originally thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
That's being shared a lot as well, which is why you see the kind of the end very quickly of this trans movement of people like getting swept into this.
It's a social contagion phenomenon, mass panic, mass contagion.
Yep.
And then
the aftermath
Yeah.
and people sharing the aftermath going like if
Yeah.
you go down this rabbit hole, the end ain't great.
No.
And so there's more and more people saying, don't go down this.
Yeah.
And that's happening not just in that one very specific movement,
But as an example.
but a lot of pursuits of life, which is why I think one of the benefits of the technological era that we live in is it just gives a lot of opportunity to say like the only one that's really satisfying is Christianity.
Yeah, because you can watch things collapse not over 3 lifetimes, but 3 months.
Correct, which is an unbelievable gift and privilege.
Crazy.
That we get to experience.
Yeah.
Like how many people, I don't know.
Yeah,
man.
and it
like,
also highlights, there's never been a sharper highlight for the long-term power of friendship.
Yeah.
Friendship not as the world defines it, but friendship as the Father and I are one. You think Jesus and his dad are friends? That's the level. I was thinking about this the other day. What is the difference between worldly friendship and what we use in SPO all the time, brotherhood? That was some sweet brotherhood at that retreat, man. Oh, the brotherhood's so good in this house. Lord, we ask for richer brotherhood among. Like, what does that mean? It's not just a buzzword. I think there's 2 components.
Okay.
I think the first one is that you genuinely like each other. I think that is true. That has to be there. And that is built over quote unquote wasted time as you learn how to synchronize with each other and build a shared vocabulary. Okay. So it's social liking. That's really it. You see things in them that are good. C.S. Lewis called friendship the most disinterested of the 4 loves because it was just pure rejoicing in the coolness of not the coolness, you know what I mean? The goodness of the other, enjoyment of the other with nothing else desired from them except the enjoyment of who they are. Yeah. I've called you my friends.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
There's no greater love than this. A man laid down his life for his friends. And then the second piece, I think, is mission. I think mission plus friendship makes brotherhood. Because otherwise, it's just a buzzword that we essentially use to mean like, yeah, I like hanging out with that guy. But if there's a mission that we're all on, something that orients us, a symbol, if you will, to which we're all attuned and paying attention, then we can not only walk alongside one another, but converge towards a shared goal and a shared end.
Yeah.
And so that produces the oneness over time, but it requires walking for years because people change slowly.
But the reason that Christianity version of brotherhood are so potent, as like what you said, if it's friendship, enjoyment of one another, and a mission, the football team's got a great brotherhood.
Yeah, and a mission.
And a mission. So like they
have brotherhood while the team lasts.
What is different is this fundamental being welcomed into God's family and seeing the Lord's love in that person. Like that's what like there are guys that I call my brothers that annoy me a ton. Like the enjoyment isn't there all the time.
I know.
Yet
I'm your employee.
We can say yet I have experienced the love of the Father, and I can't put words. It's ineffable. I can't put words.
It's inexpressible.
To it. And yet, when I see my brother who annoys me to the nth degree, I can't help but see how much the Lord loves him, and therefore I love him, even when it doesn't make sense on a worldly level.
Yeah.
Like when this guy is just like we're total opposites of personalities and different preferences and whatever. He is still my brother that I love being around because of this deeper fundamental sense of we are still We are brothers in the Lord as
Mhm.
sons of the Father.
Are you saying that the ultimate mission that unites brothers is relationship?
I think so. I believe so. Yeah.
I think that's what we just
That's
did.
what we said. But so that being the stem or the root
Yeah.
of that love, and then you see the enjoyment and the
Yeah.
mission, because it's out
Yes.
of that love of the Father that
Yeah.
we get our mission.
Yeah.
We don't just like drum up a strategy.
Right. The
Like
mission
literally
flows from relationship. Come
thousands
and
of years of
see. Come
society
and
are
be
built,
like this.
yes, are built on people who like, well, let's drum up this strategy, and then it
Yeah.
comes and it withers like the grass.
Yeah.
But man, the stuff that's rooted in the ineffable love, experiential love of the
Yeah.
Father, and then you see that in
The ineffable clothed with flesh.
yeah,
Almost
yes.
like
Yeah.
Jesus' incarnation was necessary because we needed a human representation of the inexpressible image of God.
Yes.
He is the firstborn. He is the one who is made manifest. He is the Logos. It is crazy that the pattern of rationality itself, Logos in the Greek philosophical sense, John used that word very intentionally in John chapter 1. Extremely intentionally. That's deeply Platonic, like Platonic philosophy.
Yeah.
And also has a name and is a person, that the pattern of like patternicity itself is
Pattern
also
of patternicity.
Shush.
These are the one-liners that I come to enjoy from
Was
John Mullen.
also a man.
Yeah.
Was also a being.
Yeah.
Like being himself became a particular being. The one and the many found unity.
Mhm.
That solves the question of how can multiplicity and unity be present in the same experience.
Yeah.
It's the revelation of Christ as Logos and as Jesus. And that it's like that is the solution of philosophy. That's it. That's the skeleton key. And when I saw that welcomed me ultimately into the church. Because if that's how reality operates, that the many are bound into the one through the individual who is somehow the representation of the one that gives birth to it loops into itself. So Eucharist becomes not just something you consume, but it becomes the pattern of reality.
Yeah.
And so how impoverished are we if we think that we have an hour of mass a week and then we immediately go away without knowing each other's names? Like, how great a travesty. My prayer for us is that this gift we know and we've tasted of brotherhood on mission to bring men and women into the kingdom through relationality, that it's koinonia, it's fellowship, it's family, that is the mission fount. Like how desperate I am for that to be united with all of the things and memories that the trads have. Because they know something, like they are planted and rooted in a way that I'm not. Their memory is longer than mine. I'm a post-Protestant. I'm still figuring out who I am. They have a memory.
Yeah.
They know the lives of the saints. They know the old rituals and the old ways. What if what if this was the moment that new wine could actually be poured into old wineskins because the Spirit could make them young again?
Yeah,
like,
I believe that that's happening. Yeah.
That is, I think, the joy. And like he's given us all these like barely spinning plates. It's like, I'm gonna spin them up again in your lifetime if you let me. It's like, that seems hard to believe, Lord. That seems hard to believe based on what I've seen of myself and human nature. But can you imagine the glory if we get to play in that game in freaking Columbus, Ohio
in 2026?
In 2026.
Come on.
And so that's what we're, I mean,
that's what we're about.
That's what we're about. And that's why we're talking.
Having a lot of fun with a lot of great dudes.
Wasting time.
Getting to live life with the Lord.
Yep.
Like a knowledge of him.
Strategically wasted time.
Yes. Like a knowledge of him, an experience of him that will be eternal.
Yeah.
And with all these amazing guys doing stuff that really matters and making the world truly a better place, a holier place to live. I mean, come on.
Yeah. That's it, dude.
I'll put up with
I'll put up with a lot
February.
for that. I'll put up with a lot of Februarys for that.
Februarys for that.
Please, Lord, give me strength.
Yeah.
I'll put up with a lot of Februarys for that.
Boom.
That's it, man.
That's all.